Anyway, you can be very grateful I'm not wearing any spandex, for all our sakes, really. But that brings us neatly into the next item, which is about a church in Bradford, which involves wrestling. I don't really know how to say that any other way. There is a church that has decided in the way that it reaches out to its congregation, or indeed potential congregation, is to do so through wrestling. So Gareth Angel Thompson is the founder of GT Ministries, and he is with us now. Gareth, you're very welcome to Talk TV. Thanks for making the time this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah, this is quite a unique venture.
I mean, it certainly is. I used to be quite religious in my youth. I'm now agnostic, or as I say, I used to be agnostic, but now I'm not too sure. But faith is something I've kind of grappled with quite a lot through my life. And I just wonder, what is it about wrestling that makes people turn to God?
Well, you just mentioned it there, didn't you? You said that you grappled with it. I think that what we do with our wrestling church is we bring forward these ideas and these stories, and we use wrestling to be able to kind of flesh that out and to give people something that's exciting and different and thought-provoking. And what we're seeing is that people are coming and going, well, I can understand this in a way that makes sense to me because I'm seeing it play out live, but then I'm also having it unpacked afterwards by someone who talks like I do, who's been through similar things like me, and is a walking example of what Christ can do in your life. So and I think...
how does it actually work? Sorry, would you prefer I call you Gareth or Angel?
Oh, either's fine. Or okay. Gaz, whatever you feel.
Gaz, how about Gaz? So Gaz, how does it work? I mean, what actually happens when you go along to your church in the evening? Talk me through it.
Yeah, so as you arrive, we've got a tuck shop, we've got hot dogs. As you come through, you find yourself a seat. There's a bit of a countdown video going on. And then what happens is we open with Linda Maslin, who is the vicar at Fountains Church, Bradford. It's a C of E church. So she'll do all of the, there's a fire exits, there's the exit and entrance. And then she will introduce the show and she'll tell you what's going to happen. So we normally have live worship. So we've got a band and they play like normal Christian songs that you would expect to hear in church, but we add like a heavy metal, punk rock kind of style to it. So we adapt it. And then we then go into a couple of fights. So that will be anything from just a straight up wrestling match to something that's a little bit more crazy. Like we've had ladder matches, we've had wrestlers chained together, we've had a casket match. And then that
what's a casket match? Sorry, I must ask.
Yeah. So there's like a casket / kind of makeshift coffin at the outside of the ring, and the way to win is to put your opponent in it and shut the lid.
Wow. And this is, yeah. I mean, what's that got to do with God?
So what we did with that was we actually explained...
do they rise again afterwards? That's the question.
Exactly, yeah, that's what we did. So there was a little trap door, so the wrestler went in, the lid got shut, he then went under the ring, all the lights went out, came back on, he'd appeared in the ring, and then beat up the guys. And we had a guy who played Judas and kind of... So
this is astonishing. I mean, this is wonderfully dramatic. And I mean, this has clearly caught people's imagination.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing is that people are saying that I didn't think church would be like this, because let's be honest, it's not at all. But they're coming and they're seeing it in a different light. The kids can come and enjoy it. And they come away thinking, we're not kind of forcing anything on anyone. It's like, come and enjoy this. It's a spectacle. It's storytelling. But we want to give you some meaty stuff to think about. And if that then helps you engage with the Christian faith in a different way, or engage with your own spiritual journey in a different way, then that's awesome. That's great. But we're not saying that you have to be with us every week doing Bible study and all the rest of it. We're kind of like, just come and enjoy, and hopefully go away with something to think about.
And you say people are going away with something to think about. What are they? Are they coming to God? Are you converting people?
Yeah. I don't like the term converting. I think what we're doing is we're letting people explore and go on a journey. I wouldn't say converting, because whenever you say yes to Jesus and you become a Christian, there's still a lot of stuff that happens in your life, and you still got those peaks and troughs. You've mentioned that yourself, that you're still kind of grappling with it. But yeah, we've seen people come to faith. We've seen people baptized at our shows. We've seen people engaging with myself and Linda and some of the team, just trying to kind of navigate life and do that together, be praying for each other. And we do have some Bible studies and stuff that happen, and different ways to engage with church life and what that looks like. But yeah, we are seeing people come to faith.
Gaz, you have had a tough journey yourself to faith and just in life in general. What is it that God does for you? What is it that you tell me your own journey?
So I grew up in a council estate. I was from a single parent household. My dad left when I was a kid. My mum struggled with drink. I was sexually abused as a child, homeless at 15, had a failed marriage, in debt, had just a lot of rubbish in my life, really. I slept in a skip for 8 weeks. I had all of this stuff going on. And what happened was I was invited to church and I just felt my heart break in the worship. And it was like I'd felt love for the first time. And it was life-changing for me. But even from then, what I found is that actually my relationship with Jesus is very much a case of me having hope in something bigger than myself, me being able to put my strength in something that's not me, and being able to be built up and shown that actually I can get through stuff, that God is there, that there is a relationship to be had. And then you've got the church aspect, the community of people who are there to help you out and be around you and support you and be father figures and be, best friends and be there for you at life's toughest points. And I've seen that hundreds upon hundreds of times, people who, invite me around for Christmas dinner when I'm on my own or, have done some great stuff and just been there. I think great friendships.
Thank you for being so honest there. That can't have been easy to say. I just wonder, in terms of wrestling church, I suppose in my mind there are two arguments, okay, with this. One is, you've got to go to the people. You've got to meet people where they are, the whole idea of evangelizing. I mean, Jesus didn't go to the temple. Jesus went to where people were, whether it was fishermen, whether it was feeding the 5,000 in an open area. And he was someone who was criticized for that by the church establishment. The other argument is that I suppose some people might say you're trivializing what is actually a very, very serious thing. What would you say to that argument?
I'd say that for both arguments, there is some validity to both. And I'm not trying to shy away from that. I think what I don't want is people to be thinking that we're just making it, a ridiculous thing and it's a gimmick. Because the relationships that we're forming with people are very genuine relationships. These are people who are meeting with us regularly. We're not just saying, oh yeah, come and have a laugh every 2 months and then go home. We are doing genuine relationships. I think the main thing I believe is our strength is that we are reaching people in a way that's not been done before. I have a real heart for the working class, for people who are from the places where I've been. And I've spent many, many, many times in many different churches looking across and thinking, there's no room for a guy like me. There's no room for people who are working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, who are keeping their head above water, but they're not using the food bank. Just your general everyday guy who is owning his own business and is doing his stuff. Because the church is great at meeting the homeless and those who are in food banks and those who are on the absolute cusp of deprivation. And it's very good at keeping the middle class nice and comfy on a Sunday morning. But there is a whole swathe of people, families, young families particularly. I've got 2 little girls. Churches are hard when you've got kids running around. And we're just how can we help them connect with something that is fun and different and engaging, but actually is a way for them to maybe then go away and find themselves a church every Sunday that might work for them. We're not saying that this is it and all it needs to be. It's just an entryway. It's a door. It's an opportunity.
I think that's brilliant, Gaz, and I actually support wholeheartedly what you're doing. I remember asking the pastor at my parents' church in Northern Ireland, I said, how do you think people in some churches, not all churches, but some churches in Northern Ireland would react if there was a slightly, rough around the edges Jewish guy with long hair, wearing a dress with 12 of his mates who comes in smelling a fish and says, hold on guys, I'm the Son of God. How do you think they would react? I asked this man called David, and he said exactly how the Pharisees reacted.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot. Gaz, I think you're doing great work. I wish you all the best. We've had a couple of people getting in touch. John in Wallington says, tell Gareth to keep up the good work. The Lord moves in mysterious ways. And Greg has said, Peter, what an enjoyable conversation between you and Gaz. The rest are non-judgmental and interesting. More of them, please. So thank you very, very much indeed to Gareth Angel Thompson. Gaz Thompson there, founder of GT Ministries, the wrestling church. My goodness, a curious way of doing things, but nonetheless an interesting and, by the sound of it, effective one.